Commander Kang stood on the bridge of the Terran scout ship, staring at the blue planet on the view screen. Earth was the third planet in this unremarkable solar system. Just another world to catalog before moving on. The commander sighed, running a hand through his short black hair. After 15 years in the exploration division, these routine missions had become tedious. Prepare standard planetary assessment, he ordered Lieutenant Minji, who nodded and began the scanning sequence. The bridge hummed with quiet activity as officers monitored their stations. This was the fourth planetary system they had surveyed this month. The Terran Empire expanded constantly, always seeking new resources and habitable worlds. "Sir, we're picking up unusual energy readings," Minji said suddenly, her fingers moving quickly across her console. Multiple sources, primarily concentrated in facilities across the Northern Hemisphere. Kang frowned. "Define unusual." "The signatures don't match anything in our database," she replied, looking up with confusion in her eyes. "And they're powerful, far more advanced than the visible technology level of this civilization would suggest." This caught Kang's attention. He moved closer to examine her screen, where colorful energy patterns pulsed across a map of Earth. According to their initial scans, humans were a pre-spacefaring species with only primitive orbital capabilities. They shouldn't have energy signatures that could confuse Terran scanners. "Could it be natural phenomena?" he asked. "Negative, sir. These are artificial constructs, deliberately designed." Kang's expression darkened. "Focus our deep scans on the largest facility." The ship repositioned itself in orbit over what humans called North America. The main view screen shifted to show a complex of buildings nestled against mountains, surrounded by security measures that seemed laughably primitive by Terran standards. "Magnify," Kang ordered. The image zoomed in on a large underground chamber where humans in white coats moved around equipment that glowed with the same energy signature that had triggered their alerts. "Analysis suggests weapons research," said Officer Gunjin, the science specialist. "The energy pattern resembles theoretical models for matter disruption fields." Kang felt a chill run down his spine. Matter disruption technology was considered theoretical even by Terran scientists. If humans had somehow developed it independently, they posed a potential threat that couldn't be ignored. "Check the other facilities," he commanded. Over the next several hours, the scout ship silently orbited Earth, its advanced sensors piercing through concrete, steel, and Earth to examine laboratories around the planet. Each one showed similar energy signatures. Some appeared to be testing containment fields. Others seemed to be developing delivery systems. "How is this possible?" Kang muttered, more to himself than his crew. "Their satellites are primitive. They haven't even colonized their own moon properly. Perhaps they focused their resources differently," suggested Minji. "While other species develop outward, they developed inward." Kang nodded slowly. It made a kind of sense. Most civilizations discovered by the Terran had followed predictable development paths. First their planet, then their moons, then nearby planets, and finally the stars. But what if a species prioritized weapons research over expansion? "Send a full report to Imperial Command," Kang ordered. "Priority 1. While they waited for a response, Kang studied the humans through their sensors. They seemed so ordinary, going about their daily lives, unaware they were being watched. Most appeared to have no knowledge of the research happening in those secret facilities. 3 hours later, the communication array chimed. Admiral Sunwoo's stern face appeared on the main screen. "Your report has been analyzed, Commander," she said without preamble. "The High Council considers this a matter of Imperial security. A battle group has been dispatched to your location." Kang's eyes widened. "A battle group? With respect, Admiral, we haven't even attempted contact. The decision has been made. This planet possesses technology that could threaten Empire security. We will secure these facilities and our research. The battle group will arrive in 7 standard days. Until then, maintain observation and gather additional intelligence." The transmission ended before Kang could respond. He stood silently for a moment, looking at the peaceful blue planet below. Begin comprehensive observation of all identified research facilities, he finally said. I want to know everything about their operations before the battle group arrives. As the scout ship continued its silent orbit, Kang couldn't shake a feeling of unease. In all his years of exploration, he had never encountered a pre-spacefaring civilization with such advanced technology. Something about this blue planet didn't make sense, and he intended to understand it before the warships arrived. Dr. Ji-Hai Kim stared at the massive alien ship hovering over Seoul through her office window. Similar ships had appeared above 23 major cities worldwide in the last hour. The scientific community had always debated whether first contact would be peaceful. Now they had their answer. Dr. Kim, her assistant Juno, burst into the room, face pale with shock. The president is on the line. They're requesting you at the Emergency Response Center immediately. Ji-Hai nodded, grabbing her tablet and research notes. As head of the International Defense Innovation Laboratory, she had spent the last decade developing clean energy technology that could revolutionize human civilization. Now that work might save it. The streets were chaos as military vehicles rushed past crowds of stunned citizens pointing at the sky. The alien vessel loomed above the city like a metallic cloud, its surface shifting with patterns of light that seemed almost alive. At the underground command center, world leaders and military commanders gathered around screens showing similar scenes from Tokyo to New York, London to Cape Town. Dr. Kim, the president greeted her with visible relief. What are we dealing with? Before she could answer, every screen in the room flickered. A humanoid figure appeared, tall and lean with pale blue skin and entirely black eyes. When it spoke, its words were somehow perfectly translated. People of Earth, I am Commander Kang of the Terran Empire. We have observed your weapons development. Your research into matter disruption technology poses an unacceptable threat to galactic security. Surrender all research facilities and data immediately, or face planetary pacification. The room erupted in confused shouts. Ji-Hai felt her blood run cold. Matter disruption technology. The Terrans had misunderstood her work completely. Mr. President, she said urgently, they've made a mistake. We're not developing weapons. My team's work is on clean energy containment fields. The defense minister scoffed. They traveled across space to find us. I doubt they made such a basic error. But they have, Ji-Hai insisted. The energy signatures they're detecting must be from our fusion containment systems. The patterns would resemble theoretical weapon systems, but that's not their purpose. The alien transmission continued. You have 6 hours to begin compliance. Any resistance will be met with force. The following hours passed in frantic debate. Military leaders pushed for showing strength, scientists for explanation, diplomats for careful negotiation. Ji-Hai fought to be part of the response team, knowing she could explain the misunderstanding. When the response committee finally connected with the alien ship, Ji-Hai stood beside the president, clutching her research data. Commander Kang's image appeared again, his expression unreadable. Commander, the president began diplomatically. We wish to avoid conflict. Our chief scientist, Dr. Kim, can explain our research. Your time for explanation has passed, Kang interrupted. Our scans show your military forces mobilizing worldwide. This confirms our intelligence. Prepare for inspection teams to secure your research facilities. Ji stepped forward. Commander Kang, please listen. I lead the research you're concerned about. It's not weapon technology. The transmission cut abruptly. Moments later, alarms blared throughout the complex. Multiple smaller craft launching from the main vessels reported a military officer. They're heading for our research facilities worldwide. The president turned to Ji-Hai, his face grim. If they target your laboratory, they'll find nothing but peaceful energy research, correct? She hesitated. The truth was more complicated. While her work was indeed focused on clean energy, recent military interest had led to some theoretical defensive applications. Nothing close to weapons, but enough to potentially confirm the aliens' suspicions. Mostly, she admitted, but context matters. Without proper understanding. Incoming report. An officer interrupted. Chinese military has fired upon alien craft approaching their research facility. Seoul facility is next on their approach vector. The room fell silent. The first shots of an interstellar war had just been fired, based on a misunderstanding. Get me to my lab, Jai said urgently. I can show them the truth. Against security protocols, she was rushed to her research facility across the city. She arrived just as 3 alien craft descended toward the complex. Scientists and security personnel fled in panic, but Jie ran against the flow, toward her laboratory. Inside, she quickly powered up the main containment system, her life's work. The clean energy reactor hummed to life, its beautiful blue glow filling the chamber just as the ceiling panels retracted. An alien craft hovered directly above, bathing the lab in harsh white light. As armed figures began to descend on cables, Jai stood her ground beside her creation. She would show them the truth, make them understand. Earth's future depended on it. The first alien touched down, weapon raised. It was Commander Kang himself, his black eyes widening slightly as he saw not a weapon of mass destruction, but a woman standing beside a pulsing blue energy field that powered the entire facility without producing a single molecule of pollution. Captain Do-Hyun Park crouched behind the burned-out remains of a delivery truck, signaling silently to his team spread across the rubble-strewn street. 3 weeks had passed since the Terran forces had rejected Dr. Kim's explanation and seized the main research facilities worldwide. What began as a misunderstanding had escalated into a planetary occupation. Patrol approaching from the east whispered Suman through their secure comm system. 4 soldiers, standard formation. Do-Hyun peered through his binoculars. The aliens moved with practiced precision, their armor gleaming in the afternoon sun. They carried weapons that could vaporize a human instantly, yet they moved cautiously. 3 weeks of guerrilla resistance had taught them to fear Earth's narrow streets and endless hiding places. Remember, this is not about killing them, Do-Hyun reminded his team. We just need to create a diversion for Dr. Kim's transport. 10 kilometers away, Dr. Kim and her team of scientists worked frantically in a hidden laboratory beneath an abandoned subway station. After her failed attempt to explain their technology to Commander Kang, she had barely escaped when global resistance began. Now she worked with scattered research teams connected through a makeshift underground network. The portable containment field is stable, said Youngo, her assistant, watching energy readings on a jury-rigged computer system. But we still need more processing power to complete the demonstration model. Jay nodded tiredly, pushing her hair from her face. Dark circles shadowed her eyes after days with minimal sleep. The components from the university lab will help. If Captain Park's team can secure them, we might have something to show the Terran leadership within a week. Back on the street, Do-Hyun checked his watch. Their window was closing. He needed to create enough chaos to allow their secondary team to infiltrate the university physics department, now under Terran control. Suman, Juwoo, take position B, he ordered. Prepare noise packages. Minzu, you're with me. They moved silently through the debris. Once, Do-Hyun had been a simple military officer with dreams of eventually teaching at the academy. Now he led Earth's most effective resistance cell, not because he wanted to fight aliens, but because he believed in Dr. Kim's insistence that communication, not combat, was their only hope for survival. The noise packages, simple devices that mimicked weapons fire and explosions, were planted quickly. When detonated, they would draw Terran forces away from the university for precious minutes. All set, Suman confirmed through the comm. Secondary team is in position. Do-Hyun took a deep breath. Activate in 3, 2, 1. The street erupted with sounds of battle. Holographic projectors created illusory movements of dozens of fighters. The Terran patrol called for backup immediately, just as planned. While Terran forces converged on the false battle, The secondary team slipped into the physics building. They moved efficiently through darkened hallways, following memorized maps to the specialized equipment Dr. Kim needed. "Captain, we have a problem," Minsu said suddenly, monitoring Terran communications through a hacked channel. "They're not buying it this time. They're splitting their forces." Do-hyun cursed under his breath. "Secondary team, accelerate timeline. You have 4 minutes before company arrives." Inside the university lab, the extraction team worked frantically, disconnecting delicate instruments and packing them in protective cases. They had practiced this operation dozens of times, but never under such pressure. "This is the last component," said Yoonji, carefully removing a quantum processing core. "We need to move now." As they finished loading their precious cargo, the sound of Terran boots echoed down the hallway. The team slipped out through a service tunnel just as alien soldiers burst into the lab. Across the city, Do-hyun's team scattered, disappearing into the network of hiding places they had established throughout Seoul. They would regroup at sunset at the next safe house. Their tactics couldn't defeat the technologically superior Terran forces, but they could keep them distracted and confused. Hours later, in the underground lab, Dr. Kim carefully unpacked the stolen equipment. Her hands trembled slightly from exhaustion, but her eyes shone with determination as the quantum processor came online. "Now we can complete the demonstration model," she said, looking around at her team of brilliant scientists now living like fugitives. "When finished, this device will prove our technology was never meant for destruction." Young-ho looked skeptical. "Even if we build it, how do we get the Terran leadership to see it? They're hunting us all across the planet." Jay smiled for the first time in days. "Captain Park has a plan for that too. But first, we need to finish this prototype." As her team got to work, integrating the new components with their existing system, Jai thought about how strange life had become. 3 weeks ago, she had been a respected scientist presenting papers at international conferences. Now she led a secret research team while hiding from alien invaders. The blue glow of the containment field illuminated her face as it pulsed with clean, sustainable energy that could power human civilization for centuries without pollution. Energy that had been mistaken for a weapon. She would make the Terrans understand, no matter what it took. Commander Kang stood motionless as he studied the captured human research data. The holographic display showed energy patterns that defied Terran understanding. 5 weeks into the occupation of Earth, and nothing made sense anymore. "You wanted to see me, sir?" asked Science Officer Kenjin, entering the command center aboard the flagship hovering above what humans called Geneva. "Look at this," Kang said, gesturing to the display. "Our scientists have analyzed the data from the Argentina facility. It's not what we thought." Hyunjin moved closer, her eyes widening as she processed the information. "These aren't weapon designs." "No," Kang agreed, his voice tight. "They appear to be defensive systems, but not like anything in our database." The Argentina research facility had been captured intact 3 days earlier. Unlike other labs that had been empty or destroyed by human resistance fighters, this one contained complete data records. The Terran scientific team had been working day and night to understand what they'd found. The humans have developed a method to nullify energy attacks without harming the attacker, Hyunjin explained, moving through the data files. "It's a complete paradigm shift from our approach to defense." Kang felt a growing unease. Had they made a terrible mistake? The occupation had cost thousands of lives, both human and Terran. Cities lay damage, and resistance grew stronger every day. "These energy signatures," he said, pointing to a familiar pattern, "are what triggered our weapons alerts." "Yes, but they're not weapons," Hyunjin confirmed. "The intensity and pattern matched our theoretical models for matter disruption because they work on similar principles, but in reverse. Instead of disrupting matter, they stabilize it against outside energy influences." A communication alert interrupted them. A junior officer appeared on screen, visibly nervous. "Commander, we've captured a human scientist attempting to infiltrate our perimeter." She claims to be Dr. Jihai Kim and demands to speak with you personally. Kang stiffened. Dr. Kim, the woman from the first lab, who had tried to explain before the fighting started. Before he could respond, the officer continued. Sir, she's carrying some kind of device. Our scanners show it matching the energy signature we've been tracking. Bring her to me, Kang ordered immediately. Full security protocol, but do not damage her or her device. 30 minutes later, Dr. Kim stood in the command center, flanked by armed guards. Despite weeks in hiding, she carried herself with dignity. Behind her, 2 Terran soldiers carefully transported a spherical device that pulsed with soft blue light. Dr. Kim, Kang acknowledged, studying her face. You've gone to extraordinary lengths to reach me. Because you need to understand before more people die, she replied simply. This misunderstanding has cost too much already. Kang nodded to the guards, who stepped back but remained alert. We've been examining your research from Argentina. Perhaps I'm ready to listen now. Relief flashed across Jihai's face. The device I've brought demonstrates our technology's true purpose. She moved toward the sphere, and after a moment's hesitation, Kang allowed it. This is a portable energy shield generator, she explained, activating controls on its surface. The blue glow expanded, creating a dome that encompassed her and Kang. It creates a field that can neutralize energy weapons without harming the user of those weapons. Kang watched, fascinated, as Hyunjin ran scanner readings from outside the field. Commander, the field is completely neutralizing our sensor probes, Hyunjin reported with poorly concealed excitement, but without creating feedback or damage to our equipment. Test it, Jihai urged. Fire any weapon at low power. The shield will absorb and neutralize it. After a moment's consideration, Kang nodded to a guard. Level 1 pulse, targeted at the floor inside the field. The guard fired. The energy beam crossed into the blue field and simply dissolved, leaving no trace and causing no damage. Impossible, whispered Hyunjin. The energy doesn't reflect or redirect. It's completely neutralized. Not impossible, Jai corrected. Just a different approach. Our research was never about hurting others. Earth has seen too much destruction in its history. We wanted technology that protects without escalating conflict. Kang circled the device slowly, military mind racing with implications. A civilization that developed defensive capability before offensive weapons. Exactly, Jai said. What your sensors detected were test fields for clean energy containment. We developed this technology to solve our energy crisis without damaging our environment. The defensive applications were a secondary discovery. Hyunjin was rapidly analyzing the data from the demonstration. Commander, this technology solves theoretical problems our scientists have struggled with for centuries. The applications go far beyond weapons defense. Kang looked at the human scientist with new respect. This small planet, which had seemed so insignificant just weeks ago, had developed something revolutionary. Dr. Kim, he said finally, I believe it's time we had a real conversation about Earth's place in the galaxy. For the first time since the invasion began, Jai smiled. That's all we ever wanted, Commander. 6 months after the Terran ships had first appeared in Earth's skies, Captain Do-Hyun Park stood on an observation deck of the massive space station orbiting Jupiter. The curved glass dome offered a breathtaking view of the gas giant's swirling storms and delicate ring system. Behind him, representatives from 12 alien species mingled, their voices a strange mixture of sounds as translation devices worked to bridge communication gaps. Still not used to it? Asked Dr. Jihai Kim, joining him at the window. She wore the blue uniform of the newly formed Interstellar Defense Initiative, with a small Earth emblem on her collar. Do-Hyun shook his head. 6 months ago, I was hiding in bombed-out buildings. Now I'm Earth's security representative to the Galactic Council. It doesn't feel real. Reality changes quickly sometimes, Jihai said with a small smile. Commander Kang is looking for you, by the way. The Proximan delegation has questions about implementing our shield technology on their colony worlds. The mention of Kang no longer filled Do-hyun with anger. The Terran commander had become an unexpected ally after the truth about Earth's technology was revealed. He had faced criticism from his superiors for ending the occupation, but his decision had proven correct when the full potential of human innovation became clear. Captain Park, called a tall, willowy being with iridescent skin. Is it true that humans developed shield technology without first creating energy weapons? Our historians find this development path fascinating. Do-hyun had grown accustomed to such questions. Earth's unusual technological evolution had become a subject of intense interest throughout the galactic community. We had our share of destructive weapons, he explained diplomatically. But our focus shifted toward protection rather than greater destruction. It wasn't a planned path, just how our research evolved. Later that day, Do-hyun attended the formal council session where Earth would receive full membership status. The circular chamber was filled with representatives from over 30 spacefaring civilizations. Some, like the Terrans, had been exploring the stars for thousands of years. Others were newer to interstellar travel but had long histories of technological development. Earth was unique, a young species that had jumped from planetary isolation to galactic importance in a matter of months. The Council recognizes Earth as the newest member world, announced the Terran High Chancellor, an elegant female with elaborate markings on her blue skin. Their contributions to defensive technology have already transformed security protocols throughout 3 sectors. Do-hyun rose to speak on behalf of humanity. As he approached the central platform, he saw Dr. Kim among the Earth delegation, alongside scientists and diplomats who had once been enemies of the Terrans, but now worked closely with them. On behalf of Earth, we accept membership with gratitude and humility, he began. 6 months ago, we didn't know we weren't alone in the universe. We've had much to learn, and undoubtedly have much more learning ahead. The chamber was silent, dozens of alien eyes watching him intently. What began as a misunderstanding has led to something extraordinary, he continued. Our shield technology has been implemented on 17 worlds already, protecting billions of lives. But what we value most is not the technology itself, but the principle behind it. That true strength lies in protection rather than destruction. After the ceremony, Commander Kang approached Do-hyun at the reception. The Terran officer had been assigned as Earth's military liaison, a position that had initially been awkward for both of them. A good speech, Captain, Kang said, offering a traditional Terran salute of respect. Thank you, Commander, Do-hyun replied, returning the gesture. Though I'm still getting used to speaking for an entire planet. You'll adjust, Kang assured him. Just as I've adjusted to being wrong about Earth. There was a hint of humor in his voice that would have been unimaginable during the occupation. As the reception continued, Do-hyun found a quiet moment with Dr. Kim, who was discussing expansion plans with her research team. The Interstellar Defense Initiative now employed scientists from 8 different species, all working to refine and improve Earth's shield technology. I just received approval for the Mars Research Complex, she told him excitedly. We'll have the largest shield research facility in this sector, with participation from 23 worlds. Do-hyun nodded, still sometimes overwhelmed by how quickly everything had changed. Did you ever imagine this outcome when you were working in your underground lab? Ji laughed softly. Never. I just wanted to create clean energy and maybe stop the fighting. She looked out at the gathering of alien representatives. Instead, we've changed how species throughout the galaxy think about security. As the Earth delegation prepared to return home, Do-hyun took one last look at Jupiter glowing in the darkness of space. The blue planet that had once seemed so isolated was now connected to a vast community of worlds. What had begun with a frightening misunderstanding had transformed into humanity's greatest opportunity. Earth was no longer just a blue planet. It was a beacon of innovation that had earned its place among the stars.